Thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, if you felt it was useful. Now let's get into this. So it was, I think there was a recent photo, I definitely seen it on Boxing Scene, of Dillian Whyte and Mauricio Sullivan. And Mauricio Sullivan, obviously, he's been asked in several, I think they've been like Twitter interviews or like kind of live Instagram feeds and stuff like that. He's been asked several times about Dillian Whyte. You know, what's his relationship like with Dillian Whyte? When is Dillian Whyte going to get his title shot, etc, etc, etc. Dillian Whyte, obviously, he's been very vocal in the past, and still is, about not getting his WBC title shot, despite the fact he's only been mandatory for, I think, about a year or so, maybe longer, maybe 2 years, but he's been number one ranked for, seems like, forever. You know, I think at one stage Povetkin was number one ranked, I think, before he got popped again, and I think pretty much after that it's been Dillian Whyte. You know, I think literally since 2017 Dillian Whyte has been the number one ranked for the WBC. Now obviously there's a big difference between being ranked number one and being mandatory challenger, but Dillian Whyte's been at the forefront of the WBC rankings for the best part of a couple of years now, and this is a man who still hasn't got his WBC title shot. People can say, oh yeah, he's not got a title shot against, you know, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, but you know, he was offered the Anthony Joshua fight. You know, he could have took that fight. Sorry there, people. He could have took that fight, but he didn't. You know, for whatever reason, he didn't want the money. But Dillian Whyte has been wanting to go down the WBC route for years. And with regards his mandatory, which is due to be called in February 2021. Now, I've long since said that I'd be very surprised if it gets called in February 2021, because obviously with what's going on in the world, mandatories, for the most part, you would imagine will be put on the back burner, because obviously mandatories can't be, you know, called because a lot of boxing isn't going on. So mandatories for most sanctioned bodies will put on the back burner, unless it's, you know, it's extended period of time mandatory, like next summer or something like that. You would imagine to be put on the back burner. Now, February 2021, you'd imagine that's long enough to be able to call that mandatory, but what we need to take into consideration is Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, the trilogy fight. That's going to happen whatever you want to look at it. You know, there is Deontay Wilder, there's resistance from Wilder's side. They don't want to take the step aside money. Okay, we kind of know that now at this stage. They want the trilogy fight, fair enough. The trilogy fight, obviously, if it had happened, if all this stuff in the world hadn't gone on, would have happened in July or August of this year. Looks likely now we're going to get that kind of maybe Christmas time, November, December. Then moving on from that, the big question is are we going to get undisputed? Because AJ versus Fury, assuming of course they both get through their respective fights, that's the fight everyone wants. And even if one doesn't get through their respective fight, you would imagine that undisputed would still be a target. Like we'll say if Kubrat Pulev springs a massive upset and gets a win over AJ, well, that's an easy fight to make because they're both top ranked fighters, Fury and Pulev. So you would imagine that undisputed will come after both guys' respective fights. Where does that leave Dillian Whyte? Because we know, especially mandatory, or especially, undisputed, that would trump a mandatory. But Dillian Whyte, he is in a position where he could sue the WBC if they don't give him his mandatory. Now, he's talked about going down legal routes before. We've heard that, you know, several times. I think we heard it last year a couple of times. Eddie Hearn has always been reluctant to go down that route with Dillian Whyte. Obviously, he is the promoter of Dillian Whyte. He's the guy trying to get Dillian Whyte his shot as soon as he can. He's trying to keep Dillian Whyte active. But let's not forget, if Eddie Hearn goes along with, and this is just assuming Dillian Whyte does follow through and go through with legal actions, which he actually could, you know, if he doesn't get his title shot next year, and, you know, it would be unlikely, you know, given everything that's going on, that he would. And, you know, as I've said several times, let's say Fury beats Wilder, AJ beats Pulev, they decide, okay, we'll fight in April 2021. That would obviously put the mandatory on the back burner. And let's say AJ Fury have a fight and it's a very, very close decision. It goes to Anthony Joshua by a close dispute with decision. Well, they'll do a rematch. And obviously, again, that'll push Dillian Whyte further back. So Dillian Whyte, yes, he could be looking to go down the legal route to get that mandatory enforced. But obviously, Eddie Hearn, you know, if you're looking at this from a promotional point of view, assuming, of course, Dillian Whyte does go down that route, Eddie Hearn wants to keep all promoters want to keep a good relationship with the sanctioned bodies. Apart from Al Heyman at the WBO, right? They want to keep a good relationship between all sanctioned bodies. If you look at Frank Warren amazing relationship he has with WBO. All his fighters fight for WBO sanctioned fights. They all fight for titles very early. They get ranked very quickly. Okay, would Frank Warren, if one of his fighters, let's say Carl Frampton, was denied a WBO shot for so long, would Frank Warren really be deciding to go along with legal action? I doubt that, because these promoters need to stay in these sanctioned bodies' good books. Eddie Hearn, very good relationship, you would say, out of all the sanctioned bodies, probably with the WBA. That's the one where his fighters tend to fight the most, where they fight for intercontinental WBA titles, this, that and the other. But they have fought plenty of times for WBC sanctioned fights. You know, Eddie Hearn has, you know, worked with WBC plenty of times. And obviously, if one of his fighters was to come out and take legal action against WBC, you know, that would reflect poorly on Eddie Hearn's relationship with them. So it's an interesting way to look at it. You know, Dillian Whyte, unless he wants to fight for a regular title, and I don't think he does, because who really does want to fight for a regular title, considering the fact that Manuel Charr's been champion for 3 years nearly. He's never fought once, he's never defended it once, he's never even been stripped. Okay, so that kind of shows how farcical the regular titles are. So with Dillian Whyte, could be a case of that if he doesn't, you know, get a mandate, if he doesn't take legal action and get a mandatory shot next year, he may never get a shot. You know, he may end up losing before he gets a shot. Because, as I said, if Fury Wilder happens late this year and then we go straight into Undisputed and, you know, it's a close competitive fight, controversial, there's definitely going to be a rematch. That could push that back to 2022. And by then, what's Dillian Whyte going to, who's he going to fight? You know? So, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. And Dillian Whyte, you know, Dillian Whyte, he's made plenty of money without ever having a world title fight. But Dillian Whyte is a boxing fan. He's a boxing purist. He wants that world title shot. He wants to be heavyweight champion of the world. So it's an interesting one. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Dillian Whyte will, or do you think you should take legal action with the WBC to enforce his mandatory title shot? Let me know your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, of course, if you are new. And as always, I will talk to you.